Hello, my name's Heather. I'm from Electric Needle Girls. We are bag makers and bag hardware making suppliers.
Yes, and I'm Vicky. I'm also from Electric Needle Girls, but Heather's taking the lead on this video, so Here we go.
Today I'm going to talk to you about straps, making custom straps for your bags. This is a 1-inch strap, but you can see I've got a really high contrast. I might put one on that one as well. The reason I put these on is to show you that we get the size correct for 1-inch hardware. Now, to get the size correct for 1-inch hardware, we don't always work with a 1-inch piece of substrate. So here we go. I'm going to do the 1-inch one today. We've also made them in 1.5 inch because we have 1.5 inch hardware. 3/4 inch, which I think looks a little bit interesting. I'd like that as a handle on a
little bag.
Cute little bag, yes. And I did them in 1/2 inch just because I can. And we have 1/2 inch hardware. So there you go. I would suggest that you don't start with the 1/2 inch because it's a little bit more fiddly. What do I need for this? I have the contrast. Thank you for tidying up my workspace. I'm not very good at keeping a tidy workspace. I have a 7/8 inch. There you go. Think about that, ladies. Gentlemen, sorry, but I'm just in my head. A 7/8 inch piece of fabric that I have adhered Decovil Light to the back of. Now, the way I did that to get it really accurate, because cutting it like that doesn't work. I cut it just over 1 inch wide and I trimmed it to 7/8 of an inch. And I also used a ruler that has really clear markings on, because last night I couldn't see the markings on my other ruler. I think I need to shout myself a long one of these, Vic. What do you think?
Maybe. Now, why are we using thinner substrates for the inside and even the outside?
So that when we fold the fabric over, we finish at 1 inch.
Yeah, I know the answer to this question already, because when I made my 1-inch handles, I used 1-inch substrate on the inside and my handles were wider than 1 inch, so yes, I had to do some...
We've learnt from experience.
Yes, we're learning from experience.
So...
but making sure that you don't have to learn that same experience.
Exactly. And I've got my main fabric.
Sorry, Heather's just...
we might pause here for just a moment.
Just swallowed.
Got the winter coughs. Anyway, Vicky's going to cut that out, so that's all right. So, I have, as I said, a piece of my contrast, and I've gone for a really high contrast here. 7/8 inch that. And this piece, the main fabric, and you would use 2 fabrics that are already in your bag because you repeat elements, don't you? That's the way we bring things together. I've cut this at 2 inches wide. And I'm going to mark a 1/2 inch line, and I've got the ruler with the really dark line so I can see. A 1/2 inch line in from each side. That will give me a 1 inch gap in the middle, which is my goal. And the reason I want a 1 inch gap is because I'm going to center my 7/8 inch strap with the Decovil on it between those 2 lines. Now you'll notice here too, I've joined my interfacing. Now that's perfectly fine. I've overlapped it, 1/2 inch. I don't waste much interfacing. I have a little box of interfacing sitting off to the side of my ironing board, and when I want to interface little bits, and there's often little bits to interface, I pick up these bits of interfacing and I heat set them on to whatever I want to put them onto.
It kind of looks like it's been Frankensteined, doesn't it? That's what we call it, Frankensteining our interfacing.
So we don't waste bag foam either, do we, Vicky?
No. Well, if it's a small project, we kind of piece bits together, but if it's a big project, we use...
Yeah, it depends how... I don't know. Where's my lid? There's my lid. It's always good to put that back on.
It depends on the fabrics we use and the size of the project.
Absolutely. But bag foam, I can't throw it out. Now I have got our double-sided wash away tape here, and I'm centering it on the back of our piece with the Decovil Light on it. Now, people say that Decovil gives it a leather feel. I think it's a premium product. We have both Decovil Light and Heavy in the shop. In the kit we put together for this, we've cut a 25 centimetre piece of it, and it comes on a 90 centimetre roll, doesn't it, Vicky?
Now, if you're using a vinyl, would you use Decovil Light, Heather?
I probably wouldn't use anything. I think what happens when you become better at bag making is you judge the fabrics you're using. You judge your substrate. Sometimes it needs interfacing, sometimes it doesn't. Some vinyls need interfacing because they're very slouchy.
Yes.
And some need nothing because they give you enough body to start with. Now, I'm not going to peel this back completely to start with, and I'm going to centre my 7/8 inch. We love that, don't we? We nearly broke our grandson yesterday because he didn't understand how you got fractions with inches, and when we told him they weren't decimals, he was a bit, oh gracious. He likes mathematics, but he likes decimal fractions. Anyway, here we go. I've centered this between those two lines, and I've temporarily adhered it to the contrast to the main fabric. We're calling this, the pink, a contrast, and we're calling this the main.
Yeah. So what this does, it's centering it in place, and we will be going to fold it over again and again. The good thing about this tape is that it is a water-soluble tape, being that it works really well with your machine needle. It goes through, it doesn't gum your needle up. It also, if there's a little bit ever visible, get a cotton bud or something, and because it is water-soluble, it will come off.
Yes, and now I'm going to put this on here. You see me putting it along the edge of our 1/2 inch overlap.
Give it a good press down.
Yes, it works. It isn't quite as sticky as double-sided tape that you might buy other places, but your needle likes it. And gumming up your needle on a sewing machine is less than fun. Have you ever gummed it up, Vic?
Oh, yeah.
The needle doesn't like sewing, and we're sewing on we're sewing on my portable machine today because we brought it out to what we call our HQ. So it's a lovely machine, but it's not even a semi-industrial machine, is it?
No.
So I'm going to pull this back, keeping the tape on the fabric and pulling the paper back, and it often. So again, I'm going to just do a little bit, and I'm going to fold it over. Now we want to have, can we see this? This is really important. We actually want to have.
Oh, Heather, sorry.
Did I put my head in it? Sorry.
Yep.
See, we want to have a tiny, I'll do a little bit of this and I'll hold it up to the camera.
So what Heather's doing is she's leaving a tiny gap between where she's folding it and the edge of our contrasting fabric. This is to allow us that when we flip it again, that it's going to have that thin piece that's going to be easy.
Because there's a flare on the screen. I can't see that.
It's not very easy to see anyway.
I can fit my fingernail between it.
Yeah. So that's how tiny the gap is. It's not very visible. But we're just doing this so that you can, when doing these peekaboo straps, you get a nice even fold up to that line.
Well, you're only folding one layer of fabric over the edge of the Decovil piece.
Yep,
not two, because again, we don't want our strap to be fat and not fit into the hardware, because that fits beautifully into the hardware. And I'm going to, we might speed this up, depends how long this all takes. I've got my tongue between my teeth. That helps me do things more accurately. You know that, don't you? Do you do that, Vicky?
No.
She's thinking I'm silly.
I think it.
You think it. So we're going to the end. And then we might throw that on the floor. Hey? Then we fold it over again.
And clip.
And clip, yes. Notice I'm leaving the coloured side of the clip up because they will come off when I'm sewing so much easier. Didn't get enough out, did I? You use a lot of clips in bag making. It helps. Now what I'm going to do is sew one side first, because sometimes the clips can get in the way. I have chosen a heavy thread because I am top stitching and I want it to look nice. Is that right?
Yeah, you've chosen a contrasting thread for the blue.
High contrast thread. Do you want to go over to the other camera? All right, we've moved over to the sewing machine and I have set my stitch length at 3.5. I have a heavy top stitching type thread in the machine and I've gone for a high contrast. As you can see, it's a variegated one and I thought that just might work. I put a jeans needle in the machine because I am sewing through quite a few layers of thickness here. And we want to make the stitches. Sorry, am I not in the shot?
Just closer to the camera.
There we go.
Yep.
And what else have I done, Vicky? I've set the needle. I have a compensating foot or a bi-level foot on my machine. Most machines have something that works like that. I do need this.
This is one of my favourite feet to use whenever in bag making, because if you're doing top stitching and you want to align the top of your fabric up against it, it's just got that little bit of difference in height at the base of the foot to give you a straight stitch. On
this one, because we have a right and left compensating, this is a thicker part of the presser foot this side and the thinner this side, so I'm going over the thin part and the thick part here, but we have the other way as well. And I have selected back tacking on the machine and I've got my Vicky stiletto and I think I'm ready to go. And I'm sewing along here. Oh, didn't do back tack. Now it will be a bit of a slow process because top stitching, we like top stitching to look good, and I think it makes a project, so it's worth spending a moment or two top stitching, not going at a bull at a gate. But you can see that because of the foot that I'm using, I'm able to stay straight to my fold. Another thing I do when I'm making bags is I choose a thread colour that I believe will work well with the project, and that's the only thread colour I use for the whole project. I'm just going to stop here and fold that under and do this. Now I've said in my instruction sheet, which is with the kit, to make them just a little bit longer than you need so that you can cut them down to size. And I'm going to raise my needle. Whoops, what am I doing? Stop. Raise my needle, lift my presser foot. I'm forgetting what machine I'm on. And I've pulled the threads out from the back so that when we finish when we start the next side, I can we see that on the screen there, Vicky, when I hold it still? Or a bit closer?
Maybe just a smidge closer.
I like that. We might go back and do the other side, Vicky, and then we are done. So back to the overhead camera. Here I am, I'm back. My double-sided tape is still here, and I've got clips all over the shop.
Right, what we're going to do, so this is essentially repeating the previous step.
Yes. Got my threads coming out the back again. Oh, we're back on the correct camera.
Yep.
I'm holding my threads at the back. Putting a little bit of tension on. There we have a strap. Now I have a pair of straps. We come back to the overhead. And so I can do that. If I want to, I can fit these 1 inch wide strap ends to it. They are fitted with little screws that are contained in the packaging. We have strap ends at 1.5 inch. We pack those in twos because usually you only have one big wide crossbody strap. They again have screws, and we have them in 3/4 wide. Let's get into the camera. What have I done? I can't do this. There we go, 3/4 inch wide.
Now, something we do recommend when clipping your things, so clipping your rectangle rings on, is that you see how right here we've got our join? What we do is we make sure that join is hidden underneath. That way we've got the nice clean bar, and then we just stick out.
And we could rivet those on, or fit that with the Chicago screw too. And Chicago screws require a hole and a screwdriver. You do not need any other tools other than that.
Yes.
So we could fit 2 Chicago screws on here and hold it in place. 1. You reckon 1?
I reckon 1 would look good on the 1 inch, maybe 2 on the 1.5. It's personal preference. So depending on the size, it's completely up to you.
Yep.
But yes, we also do stock rivets as well, which if you have a press to set them, that's also another option.
And so the kit that we've made up for this has a 25 by 90 centimetre piece of Decovil Light, which is enough to get you going with straps, a roll of double-sided wash-away tape, and a 1/2 metre, which is also 90 centimetres wide, so 50 centimetres by 90 centimetres of iron-on interfacing, woven iron-on interfacing, medium weight, plus there's an instruction sheet in here which will have a table with all the measurements and mild instructions, or you can refer back to this video. So I hope that you've enjoyed this little video and that you get on and make some interesting personalised
Peekaboo straps.
Peekaboo, professional looking, what's some other P words that will do, looking straps for your individualised bespoke bag.
Yes. Customisation, that's the key.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So thank you, and if you have any questions after the video, Heather and I will be here to answer them for you.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.